The Toyota Prado has long been the sensible four-wheel drive choice. Reliable, capable, and a little bit conservative. But this is a lot different. The latest Prado looks a lot tougher, and Toyota says it is better in every way.
So, is there substance to the spin? But before we get to the details, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel.
First things first, it does look a whole lot beefier. It's got a bit of boxiness, a bit of retro coolness, a bit of old school LandCruiser in there with things like those squared off headlights and of course that more rigid structured stance. A little bit of 60 series and 80 series LandCruiser for anyone who knows their old LandCruisers. But of course, underneath this thing is more modern LandCruiser, modern 300 series LandCruiser. Same architecture, same basic suspension components. But of course, this one is smaller. They share the same footprint, but it's a slightly smaller body on this car. The big LandCruiser, the regular LandCruiser, is still the hero of the Toyota off-road lineup. Inside, it is super comfy up front, and these seats are absolutely perfect for long-distance touring. Now, there's plenty of generic Toyota throughout the cabin, from the finishes, the materials, the colours, the basic switchgear. It does a decent job, but it doesn't set any new benchmarks. And for such a sizable beast, it actually doesn't have a whole lot of hidey holes for other gear, whether it's a phone, maps, whatever you might have. Again, okay, nothing special. Now, space-wise, there is seating for 7, but there is one huge catch with that. The third row seats, that 7-row seats, when they're folded back into the floor to create a 5-seater, you end up with a really high boot floor. Basically, that's because there's a small battery underneath. It's all part of the 48-volt assist system, effectively a mild hybrid system. And Toyota's done that because overseas in the States, this car is available with a proper hybrid system, a much bigger battery. They've left the same size packaging, the same hole and everything, even though they don't have the big battery in this car. It's absolutely crazy because it makes the boot a lot smaller than it should be. But elsewhere, you've got decent space in the back. Knee room's not great, but headroom's good. And overall, it's a sensibly sized car. The Prado is available in 5 model grades, kicking off at around 80 grand for the entry-level GX. Now, even though that's an entry level, it doesn't feel that sparsely equipped. But if you want extras, things like fake leather trim and heated and ventilated front seats, then you can step up to the GXL, a more family-focused model. And then you can get into a bit more luxury, things like this VX, for example, and the Kakadu variant. And there's also an Altitude model, which is more about off-roading. So it's got some chunkier all-terrain tyres and a bit more off-road cred with things like a rear-locking differential. The latest Prado gets 9 airbags and a 5-star NCAP safety rating. There's also exit assist, auto braking, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, and recross traffic alert. While it's an off-road vehicle, the entry GX and GXL miss out on a tyre pressure warning system, which is disappointing given the potential to pick up a puncture on rough roads. And while they all get front and rear parking sensors, the GX and GXL miss out on the surround view camera fitted to other variants. All get the same 2.8-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel. It's the same engine that was in the previous Prado, and it is a very familiar unit, also used in the Hilux, the Hi-Ace, and the 70 series LandCruiser. Now, in this car, it does get a very, very mild hybrid system, which is the reason you get the EV sticker on the number plate, but you will not hear Toyota mention the H word anywhere around this car. Instead, they call it a 48-volt assist system, so it effectively saves you a tiny bit of fuel in stop-start traffic. It also allows the engine to shut down a little bit sooner. Now, it's not particularly powerful, but it is super reliable, and in this market, that is very important. That's because the Prado is a proper off-roader. It's the sort of car you can comfortably take to all corners of the country. I've driven one of these things in Kakadu, where it was seriously impressive off-road. It's also great at towing, with a big caveat. The Prado can lug up to 3.5 tonnes, but if you're towing that much, your payload, which is how much you can carry in the car, is seriously reduced. So do the calculations before you hitch up the caravan or get a smaller van. There are a whole bunch of different drive modes in this car, both for on-road and off-road. So your on-road one's pretty standard: eco, comfort, normal, sport, a bit more sporty, and that can adjust the dampers in this version, for example, or you can go into custom and tell it what you want to do in terms of throttle response and steering response. Then you press MTS for the multi-terrain select, and suddenly you can choose between those different modes. So everything from auto, let the car figure it out itself, through to dirt, sand, mud, or deep snow. Off-road is where the Prado really shines. It has long been a competent machine, and this one steps it up even further. Its suspension does a fantastic job of moulding to whatever it is you're driving over, allowing the wheels to compress up into the arches or droop down further, again keeping them in contact with the road surface. And the traction control system is excellent, adapting to everything from sand to rocks. On-road too, the Prado is a huge step up on the previous model. And the biggest change comes down to the steering. It's gone from a hydraulic system to an electric power steering system, so it's far lighter, far much more maneuverable around town. That makes it so much easier to live with. But it also has more feedback, more feel, and more alertness to it at speed. So all round, it is a huge tick with that new steering.
Let MotorScout find the best deal on your new car. Select the car you're looking to purchase on our website. From there, MotorScout will go to work for you, negotiating with all the dealerships in your area. And within hours, you'll receive the best prices and availability on your new car. Ready to get started? Simply visit motorscout.com.au or give us a call.
Having that incredible off-road ability does bring compromises though. And yes, it's comfortable. Yes, it's easy to live with. Yes, it devours the miles on a big country drive. But around town, it feels just a little bit bulky. It's not out of control by any stretch, and it is livable. But it's certainly, it's not as athletic as your average city-focused SUV. But you've got that feeling of solidity, that feeling that this thing will clamber over just about anything, whether it's something serious out in the outback or the bush, or whether it's a nasty speed hump around town. It deals with it all remarkably well. The engine, it's so-so. It's one of those engines that gets the job done but doesn't really excite in any way. You've got that drone of a diesel engine kicking around, but it's got the torque where you need it, the pulling power where it's appreciated. There's that engine trucking away. I know I mentioned it earlier, but these seats, they are terrific for longer drives. They're really, really comfortable, support in all the right places. There is one thing that is a tiny bit frustrating with this car. In an off-roader, when you're driving off-road, often you want to turn the parking sensors off because they can beep and carry on when you don't want them to. If you're coming up on shrubs, for example, or there's bushes hanging over the road, they can get a little bit annoying. So you need to be able to switch them off. With this car, you need to delve into all sorts of menus to figure out how to do it through that instrument cluster there. It's not ideal by any stretch. A single button would make it so much easier. The one thing you have got in the Prado is good visibility. You've certainly got a commanding view of the road, and all around there's plenty of visibility. Nice big mirrors too, and they're arranged sort of vertically rather than horizontally, so you get a decent view.
And don't forget, if you like this video, hit subscribe to stay up to date with the latest new car reviews.
So the new Toyota Prado isn't perfect, but it is an excellent off-road wagon, and one that relishes rough roads and a bit of punishment here and there. It's not quite as convincing around town, but it's comfy and it does pamper enough to double as family transport, at least for those with the budget.